Local lawmaker is talking suicide tonight. This comes as more and more teens keep taking their lives. As our Rudy Trevino tells us, the lawmaker plans to bring up the issue with the legislature next month.
Suicide is a hard issue, but let's not avoid it anymore.
State Representative Todd Hunter says the numbers are alarming. 17% of 9th through 12th graders surveyed in Texas by the CDC said they seriously considered suicide last year. 14% said they had even made a plan for how to do it.
Many times, especially when it's the topic of suicide, people do not want to talk about it. We grieve and then unfortunately we move on.
And that, experts say, is key when trying to tackle a sensitive issue such as suicide. Todd Hunter wants to bring it out in the open in hopes of coming up with solutions.
For the last 60 days, I've heard from lots of people, and one of the big issues is we've got to address it. And so, with my seniority as a legislator, I thought, this is a constructive issue. This is something a legislator should do.
Next Monday, December 17th, at the Del Mar College Economic Development Center, Hunter is asking folks to attend his legislative update meeting, where a segment of the presentation will be open to discuss suicide prevention.
I'm going to be asking the public that attends to come up with some ideas, get them to me. The legislature starts January.
Knowledge is power, says Dr. Perez, who will be on Monday's legislative panel and was recently appointed by the governor to the Texas School Safety Center. She says this meeting is a first step of many that are needed to address this issue.
I've been advocating for the fact that our curriculum in public education and our accountability system, I really believe that we need to do more work in teaching students coping skills from the very beginning.
Perez says students need to be taught not only how to pass tests, but also how to cope with loss and cope with failure. Rudy Trevino, 3 News.